All right, everyone, get ready because today we're diving deep, really deep, into a place I know you're already curious about. The Crazy Horse Memorial. And you know what? Based on those awesome excerpts you sent over, you're not just here for the basic tourist facts, right?
Right.
You want the good stuff, the behind-the-scenes story, the how and the why. This massive, and I mean truly massive, monument is so much more than just a mountain.
Absolutely.
We're talking hidden history. We're talking a project so epic it rivals even the pyramids. And yeah, don't worry, we'll unpack that whole Mount Rushmore connection too.
Definitely have to touch on that.
To help us navigate this incredible blend of history, ambition, artistry, I mean, really, it's got it all. I've brought in a true expert, someone who eats, sleeps, and breathes Native American history and monumental art. And trust me, they've got this incredible ability to connect all the dots, to pull out those insights that make you go, whoa, I never thought of it like that.
I love making those connections.
I bet you do. Okay, so let's set the scene. We're talking Crazy Horse here. That name alone evokes so much resistance, Native American pride, a legend, a true legend. And when we're talking about a monument, a tribute on this scale, it begs the question, why him? Why there?
Well, you see, choosing Crazy Horse for this wasn't just, a random decision, oh, let's pick him. He was more than just a warrior. He was a symbol. He embodied the Lakota people's fierce fight for their independence and their struggle against, well, let's be honest, the U.S. government trying to take what was theirs. What's really important to remember here is that this wasn't like a government-led, hey, let's build a monument project. No way. This was different. This was about reclaiming their narrative, taking ownership of their history, honoring a hero on their own terms by their own rules.
I love that.
And we're better, I mean, seriously, we're better to do that than the Black Hills, a place deeply spiritually sacred to the Lakota. It's like this statement, right? You can't ignore us. Our presence is here, and so is our story.
So powerful. You mentioned reclaiming the narrative, and that really gets me thinking about the people behind this incredibly audacious vision. I mean, talk about audacious. So that brings us to Chief Henry Standing Bear, the Lakota elder who had this vision, and Korczak Ziolkowski, the sculptor who actually dared to say, yes, I can carve a mountain. Talk about a power duo.
Oh, absolutely. The scale of their vision is just mind-blowing. To look at a mountain, and see not just this natural wonder, but a blank canvas, a space to tell a story, a testament to a legacy they were absolutely determined to have recognized. I mean, it gives me chills just thinking about it. And the fact that Standing Bear put his foot down, refused government funding, that speaks volumes, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. He wanted to make sure Crazy Horse's story, his people's story, was told authentically, on that terms, their way, no strings attached, free from any outside influence, which, when you think about it, makes the fact that Ziolkowski agreed to take on this project even more incredible. We're talking about a guy who literally shows up at a site with basically nothing. No roads, no electricity. It was just him, wilderness, and a whole lot of granite. I read somewhere, I think it was in your book actually, that he actually carved the very first blast by hand. That's some serious dedication.
Yeah, talk about commitment. His dedication to this project was as monumental as the sculpture itself. And the fact that his own family, his children, they picked up the chisels, so to speak, after he passed, that adds another layer of wow to this whole story. It became this multi-generational labor of love, a testament to their shared belief in Standing Bear's vision, this idea of taking back their narrative. It's beautiful, really.
You can really feel that dedication, that passion, especially when you realize it's being passed down through generations. It really makes you realize how deeply this project resonates, how important it is. But let's be clear here, it's not just about the statue, right? There's something much, much bigger happening here, something that goes way beyond carving a mountain.
Exactly. And it goes right back to reclaiming the narrative. This project, this whole thing, it's about carving out a space, a real space, for Native American voices to be heard, for their history to be understood, their cultures appreciated, and their presence acknowledged. Not just, oh yeah, in the past, but in the here and now and in the future.
Okay, you've got me hooked. Tell me more about how they're actually doing that. What does that look like in action?
Well, they established the Indian Museum of North America right there, right on the grounds.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. This museum houses an incredible collection, talking art, artifacts, you name it, offering visitors a real, genuine glimpse into the incredible diversity and richness of Native American cultures. And it's not just a static look but don't touch kind of museum. It's alive. There are workshops, events, educational programs, all designed to cultivate a deeper understanding and appreciation for these cultures, not just in the past, but today.
So it's about creating a living, breathing tribute, not just a static monument.
You got it. And because of that, it leads to a question I'm sure a lot of people ask, will it ever be finished?
You read my mind. Will it ever be finished? I mean, it's a question on everyone's mind when it comes to the Crazy Horse Memorial, right?
Yeah.
It's been in progress since 1948, which is, well, that's a really long time.
It's a question I get a lot, and it's tricky. The answer is, well, it's complicated. Progress has been, let's just say, slower than they originally thought.
Or how?
Okay, so just to give you a sense of the scale, Crazy Horse's face, which is already gigantic, right? That alone took around 50 years to complete.
50 years,
But
just the face. Wow. It's hard to wrap your head around that.
Right, and it really throws into perspective the immense scope of this whole endeavor. But it's not just about the physical size. Remember, they're relying entirely on visitor fees and donations. No government handouts, which adds another layer of complexity, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. It goes back to what you were saying about Standing Bear's vision, maintaining their narrative, their autonomy. That's woven into everything they do.
Exactly. It's incredible, really. And on top of that, well, nature has a way of throwing curveballs. There have been some unexpected geological challenges over the years.
I can imagine. So basically what you're saying is that good things take time.
Something like that. Slow and steady wins the race, as they say. And when you think about it in the context of Standing Bear's vision, it makes perfect sense. This was never meant to be a quick slapdash project. This is a multi-generational endeavor. It takes patience, perseverance, and an unwavering dedication to honoring a legacy. And honestly, I think that commitment makes it even more powerful, don't you?
I do, definitely. Knowing the story, the why behind it, adds a whole other dimension to the experience. It becomes about so much more than just, oh, look, a big mountain. It's about the why, the how, the who.
Exactly. It's about the unwavering belief in the importance of this story being told on their terms, in their own time. And, you know, it makes me think, I have a feeling that after hearing all of this, our listeners are probably ready to book a flight.
I wouldn't blame them. I'm ready. You've painted such a vivid picture. But, and I think this is important, visiting Crazy Horse, it's about more than just looking at a mountain, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely not. There's so much more to it than that.
You mentioned earlier you live near the Black Hills.
I do. I can actually see them from my office window.
Wow, what a view that must be. Okay, so for those of us, and I'm including myself here, who haven't had a chance to visit yet, what do we need to know? I know it's near Mount Rushmore, which seems like, talk about bucket list. You can knock out 2 incredible landmarks in one trip. But practically speaking, logistics, getting there, admission, all that good stuff, what should our listeners keep in mind?
Well, you're right. It's incredibly easy to pair a visit to Crazy Horse with a trip to Mount Rushmore. And I highly recommend doing both. It's about 17 miles southwest of Mount Rushmore, and the drive itself is gorgeous. As for admission, it's based on your vehicle, not per person, which is always a nice surprise. And here's the cool part. That money that goes directly toward funding the project.
Oh, wow. So you're not just visiting, you're contributing to this incredible project just by being there.
Exactly. Every visitor plays a part.
I love that. Okay, so what about the actual experience? What can you tell us about that?
They've really put a lot of thought into the visitor experience. It's not just, here's the mountain, be impressed, though you will be, believe me. They have this incredibly moving orientation film you can watch. It gives you all the background information, the context, everything we've been talking about. And you can even take a bus closer to the base of the mountain if you want for a truly awe-inspiring view. And speaking of the view, let's just say it's the kind of thing that stays with you.
I can only imagine. So it's safe to say that this is a take your time, soak it all in kind of experience, not just a quick in and out stop on a road trip.
Exactly. Make a day of it. Give yourself time to experience the monument, to really let it sink in. Spend some time at the museum. It's a powerful, moving experience.
You've given us so much to think about, from the history, the vision, the logistics of visiting, and that incredible immersive experience you just described. But before we wrap up, I have to ask you, from your perspective, and this is someone who's dedicated their life to this, what's the takeaway? What's it all mean?
Oh, I love that question. It really gets to the heart of why I find this project so captivating. I think for me, the most important thing to remember, especially for our listeners who are clearly interested in going beyond the surface, is that the Crazy Horse Memorial, it's a work in progress. And I don't just mean the actual carving of the mountain, though that too, of course.
Go on, I'm intrigued. What else? What do you mean?
Well, think about it. You have this incredible project, a vision born from a Lakota elder, brought to life by a passionate sculptor who literally devoted his life to it. continued by his family, and entirely funded by everyday people who believe in its message. I mean, that's incredible. It becomes so much bigger than just a statue, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A powerful statement, a conversation about representation, about reconciliation, about truly honoring indigenous cultures, not just as a relic of the past, but as a vital, living part of our present and future.
Wow, it's like this physical embodiment of a conversation we're all a part of, whether we realize it or not.
Yes, and that's what makes the fact that it's unfinished so compelling.
Yeah.
It's not a flaw, it's not a negative, it's an invitation. An invitation to engage, to learn, to understand, to participate in this dialogue. It's a story that's still being written, and that's incredibly powerful.
You've given me chills. This has gone from a fascinating history lesson to something so much deeper, so much more profound.
It's amazing what happens when you dig a little deeper, isn't it?
It really is. So, for our listener, who's probably just as captivated by all of this as I am, what's something they can reflect on as they're maybe planning that road trip, picturing themselves there? What's a thought, a question, something you can leave them with?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, we've talked a lot about Standing Bear's vision for this project, but I'm curious about our listener. If they could ask Crazy Horse one question, what would it be? What does this monument, this story, this legacy mean to them?
That is such a good question and a perfect note to end on. Our listener has a lot to think about, maybe even some trip planning to do.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
If you do make it out to the Black Hills, let us know. We'd love to hear all about it.
Absolutely. Send us pictures.
Until then, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and who? Maybe we'll be digging deep into one of your discoveries next.
You never know what's out there.
That's right. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
This was fun. Until next time.